Hello friends, my name is Ajay. In this video, I'm going to be showing you some of what I believe are the best widgets to have on your home screen on an iPad. Now, these type of widgets are for the iOS 13 widgets, or known also as the Today view in iPadOS, and this can be both done on the iPad as well as widgets on the iPhone. So first what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be showing you on the iPad where to see your Today view, how to turn it on if it's not already on, how to add different widgets, and then I'm going to be going over what I believe are some of the best widgets to have on an iPad. Alright, so without further ado, let's get started. Alright everyone, here I am on my iPad screen. And you can see right over here on the left side of my home screen on the iPad, and this is not iOS 14. If some of you know, the new iOS 14 update, which will be coming out in a little bit, very soon I maybe have some videos as I plan on downloading the developer beta on one of my older devices. But what I'm going to be doing is, or at least you can see on the left side of the home page, you can actually see that there are these different widgets. So I am in iOS 13, not in the new iOS 14, which has added kind of capabilities for even more advanced widgets. On the iPad, they can be kind of on the home page, and on the iPhone, it can kind of be on the home screen, and then on the iPad, it's still generally on this left side over here. So you can see that I have a bunch of widgets that I can very easily scroll through, and it's actually very, very cool. Now, in order to actually access this, because for a lot of people, your kind of Today window may either be hidden or may only be accessed when you scroll from left to right on your homepage of your iPad. So in order to actually turn this feature on, if it isn't already on, what you want to do is you want to go into your iPad settings and you want to scroll down to where in the settings under, like on the sidebar in the same kind of grouping where general is, you'll see this button for home screen and dock. I'm kind of highlighting with my finger over there right now. Right over here, as you can see, it's kind of highlighted. If I click on this, this is what it looks like. You can see that you can change from more and bigger app icons, and you then below that have this Keep Today View on Screen checkbox. Now, in order to have access to Today View, you need to make sure that your app icon size is set to more. If you set your app icon size to bigger, even if the Today View window is on, you can see that it does not fit on the home screen right over here. So if I go back into settings and switch on more, you can see that it is now an option. So I can go in, I can toggle it off, and then when it's off, you can see that this is generally what your homepage looks like. And then to slide and see your Today view, you would slide left to right, just like that, and then it will pin for a few seconds, but then once you switch over to a new page and switch back, you will see that it is gone again. So this is kind of maybe how it's default for some people. However, if you want to, you can click on Keep Today View on Screen, and then on your home page of your iPad, you will always see your widgets on the left-hand side. Alright, so now that I actually have it on the left-hand side, how do I add widgets to my iPad? If you don't already know, you may be wondering, well, is there a separate place where I have to install widgets? Or, how do I add them? Is it in settings? So how we actually add widgets is that the widgets that we are allowed to use on this panel is going to be tied to the apps we actually have downloaded on the device. So for example, if I want to use a widget for an app like any sort of weather app that I may have, or let's say I want to use a widget from, for example, Wikipedia, I need to make sure that I actually have the application downloaded on my device. Only when my application is downloaded will I have the ability to access its widgets and add those widgets to my Today view. So now that I'm over here, how do you actually add them? Well, if you take on your side panel where your widgets are and you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you will see that there's actually an edit button. You want to click on that edit button, and now you have this Today view kind of situation over here. And now you can actually see also on the top, we have another checkbox, keep on home screen. So you can actually toggle whether or not to keep Today view on your home screen, both in settings and also here where you are actually editing which widgets display on your Today view. So now over here, you will notice that there are three sections. There's a section called Pinned Favorites, a section called Favorites, and then a section called More Widgets. And the More Widgets section actually includes all of the apps and all of the widgets from the apps that are currently installed on the device. So for example, if I scroll down, you will see that there is a widget over here for let's say OneNote, right? There's a widget for OneNote, as you can see, it's the third one down on the screen. And OneNote is actually an application I have installed on my device. If I go home and I go over here, you can see that there's a Microsoft Office folder, and OneNote is one of the applications in this folder. So I do have the application actually installed on my device. And because I do, now I actually have access to that widget. If I deleted OneNote from my device, then I would not have access to this widget. So now, once you kind of have all of these, you have all of these options from different apps that you can install. And what you can do is, let's say I want to add, for example, let me just take Tips. This is a built-in iOS app that kind of tells you about different things on your device. If I click on the plus button to Tips, you will see that it slides into my favorites view. So the pinned favorites right over here are actually the ones that are going to display on the home screen always. They'll always be there on the top of the page. And then the favorites will also be some of the widgets that you can actually see when you scroll down. So that's kind of the difference, is that the apps that you actually have favorited are all of the apps that are going to be in your Today view when you scroll. However, the pinned favorite should always generally be on the screen in the beginning. So for example, if I move my Tips app, if I take my Tips, I add it, and I move it up to my pinned favorites, you will see that when I am, or at least when I reopen kind of this Today view in its normal state, you will see that Tips is going to be right there, and it's always going to be on the screen. Now, of course, you can add many things to pinned favorites, and if you do add a lot of things and your actual iPad simply does not have the space to actually display all of them, some will get hidden even if they are in the pinned favorites. So for example, one way that you can actually mitigate this problem is that you can always tap on this little, around certain widgets, there'll be this little down arrow which I can tap, which actually collapses different widgets. And that allows me to give more space to my widgets, and then it allows me to kind of collapse different widgets that I have. And that's simply also to save space, so that if you want to display more widgets on your home screen, you easily can. So, alright, I'm going to scroll over down here, I'm going to edit, I'm going to delete the Tips widget as I do not want it. And now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going over some of the top widgets that I believe are definitely recommended, or at least that I recommend for you to have on your device to maximize productivity and also maximize the information that you're able to get on your home screen. And the first thing that I always recommend, especially on an iPad, is a very good weather widget. Because the thing is that Apple, as of even, I believe iOS 14, they don't either, there has not been an actual weather app on the iPad, a built-in weather app. So in order for you to get weather information, you're either going to have to download another third-party weather app and then navigate to that third-party weather app every time to see the weather, or you're going to have to ask Siri. There is no necessarily built-in page, like for example, on your notification on your home screen where, it shows kind of the time and the date. Apple does not allow you to kind of show the weather on that main lock screen. So therefore, if you want to quickly see the weather, it's definitely very useful to have a widget for weather so that when you're on your home screen, you can very easily see what the weather is in your area. So in general, one of the best weather widgets that I've tried multiple different weather apps, at least half a dozen weather apps, maybe even more. One of the ones that I definitely recommend over all of them is Carrot Weather. Now, Carrot Weather is actually a paid app, so I believe it costs about $5 to download this particular app, but it definitely has the best widget that you can possibly have out of all the apps on your main home screen for your iPad. You can see right over here on my iPad screen, it is actually the topmost widget. So you can see right over here, it tells me the temperature, it shows me the condition with an icon, it even tells me the feels like temperature, wind, the high and low, like basically what you can expect throughout the day. You can see the precipitation chance, and you can see hourly temperatures as well as hourly weather conditions, and you can also see for 4 days ahead. So automatically, the amount of data that you see on this particular widget is very good. Now, another thing is that I can always, if I do not want it to take up this much space, I can always click on this little arrow here, and you can see that it collapses down. Now, those little icons that it shows, those are going to be kind of the different weather conditions for each hour. So you can see that because it's kind of half of a whitish color and half yellow, that's kind of showing that it's partly cloudy. And then you can see that when it's purple, that indicates that it's night. Right, so it's an overcast perhaps with a little bit of clouds, and then when it's blue, you will see that it is generally raining. So this is definitely a great weather app, and a great weather widget, and I wanted to compare it to the built-in weather widget because Apple does actually include a built-in weather widget. Now, it's, of course, they don't actually have a weather app, but they do have a built-in weather widget, and you can just compare the amount of data, and I will be blurring out my particular location. But you can see that the amount of data that's shown in the same amount of space is definitely much better in terms of Carrot Weather. They show a lot more information. And they're actually a little bit more accurate because the API they're using is the Dark Sky Weather API, which is hyper accurate to specific locations. So definitely that is a very, very good weather app. So, and now I'm just going to go here. I'm going to delete my particular weather widget, or the built-in weather widget. So definitely Carrot Weather, I definitely recommend, is a very, very good weather widget. Now, the next thing that I wanted to talk about is a good calendar widget, because when you're, on your iPad and it's generally on your home screen, you generally may want to see what you may have coming up later in the day. Generally, a lot of people, if they're sitting down, they want to quickly have a glance at least of what their schedule looks like. And a very good calendar widget will allow you to do this in a very good way. And there are actually so many different calendar widgets for people to choose from. There's the built-in calendar, which is actually pretty good. There are apps such as TimePage, which I will be actually talking about in a later video. It's also a very good widget. But one of a very good widget that I actually believe is a very good widget to have is the Fantastical widget. Now, Fantastical is a free app. I'm going to open it over here. I don't actually recommend that this particular app, they have this entire premium feature where you have to pay a subscription. I wouldn't recommend doing that at all. And I don't even think that it's that great of a calendar app to use on a daily basis. I think that the normal built-in calendar app is perfectly fine, but you could always have that app installed just to have access to a superior widget. And what this widget allows you to do is it allows you to see, for example, it says in an hour 51 minutes, it says record video. I just added that in, for the sake of this video, so that I actually had something on the calendar for today, even though I am recording now. You could see how much time you have left, what time it is, the event, and you see a very nice little graphic on the right side showing your time, your general timeline for the day. And another really good thing about Fantastical is I can click on this arrow and I can expand my widget. And you can see right now I have this very nice calendar view where I can click on different days and you can actually see all of these different things on my calendar. And you can see the entire grid calendar, tap on each item, you can see little dots to how many events you actually have. And it is generally a very nice, all right, I'm just gonna close that right there. I don't know why that opened. It's a very, very nice calendar widget. Now, in my case, I generally like to keep my widget collapsed here so I have more access to other things on my homepage. Now, the next thing that I always recommend is to have a very good reminders widget. And the thing is that with reminders, I'm currently using my general built-in reminders app here. Another really good widget for reminders or keeping track of things to-do list, which I definitely recommend, is Things 3. Now, Things 3 is actually $20 for the iPad, which is why I have not downloaded it yet. However, I have seen other people use it, and it definitely has a lot of features, and is probably definitely recommended over the basic reminders widget. However, of course, it is $20, and I already went over one paid app, which was Carrot Weather, so I definitely believe that for the rest of it, I wanted to kind of use free applications. I didn't want to use a bunch of paid applications because the more paid applications there are, the less people are going to be able to use these different type of widgets. Now, the next thing, which I think is also very nice, is the batteries widget. And what batteries allows you to do is it actually allows you to see, for example, the different batteries of, for example, your pencil, right? If you have an Apple Pencil with your iPad, or if you have like some sort of wireless earbuds like AirPods, then you can very easily see your batteries. In fact, if you're connecting a Bluetooth keyboard, for example, this older Magic keyboard from Apple, if you connect something like this, then it will tell you the battery of this. It's a very good widget to keep track of the battery of your applications or keep the battery of your devices rather, without having to go to all of these different menus to find it. And it's just generally very useful. For example, if you're in an app, I'm just going to choose, for example, let's just choose, what's a random app? I'm just going to I'll just open up settings. If I want to very quickly, easily see my battery, I can just swipe down, swipe to the side, and you can see the battery right over there. So I'm just going to swipe all that away. It's generally a very good widget just to have. Now, another widget that I actually added, which I thought was pretty cool, was a Wikipedia featured article. So every day, Wikipedia will add a new featured article of something interesting which you can learn about if you're into that. And it's definitely a very good widget to have. Of course, the Wikipedia app is free on the App Store. And then news, of course, if you're somebody who likes to read a lot of news, the news widget will also be very nice. You can easily see some of these recent news articles. If something catches your eye, you can always click on an article and then easily read it. Another thing which I actually want to go over in a completely different video of the power of the Apple Shortcuts app, but you can then run your custom shortcuts, which is a built-in app on Apple, your Shortcuts app. Again, I will be going over that in the future. This particular widget is very nice. I can very easily run different shortcuts directly, and it is generally also very good to do multiple different things. If you've set up shortcuts, you can then just have it on your home page. And then the last thing I added here was a stocks app. And stocks is just if you're interested in, for example, different types of stocks, and you're just into finance, like that type of stuff, then this is also a very nice particular widget to have. Now, of course, they do have the Stocks app, which is right over here. In fact, I haven't even opened it yet on this particular device, so it says welcome to Stocks. Nothing's actually been set up there. But you can see, looks like almost everything is red, but this is also a very good app to be able to, or a good widget to have on your Today view. Alright everybody, all the different widgets that I talked about can also be accessed on an iPhone. So if you're using an iPhone, pretty much any iPhone with iOS 13 and any iPad with iPadOS, or pretty much the equivalent of iOS 13 on iPad, then you're going to be able to use all of these different widgets. And depending on how you depending on what your workflow looks like throughout the day, or what you're doing, or what type of person you are, whether you're working, whether you are a student, whether you are doing something related to traveling, all of those different things you can customize your Today view to kind of fit you. These are just some of the things that I thought are going to be very useful, even for students, to kind of easily be able to see a bunch of very good information on the home page, and I thought that I would share some of these things with you. Alright everybody, if you have any questions, definitely leave them in the comments section below and I will try to answer them. If you liked the video, feel free to like and subscribe for more content, and as always, thanks for watching.